Hey guys, welcome back to the Snap Ring Chronicles. Today we're at you with a new Ratchet video. But before we start, if you find these videos entertaining or helpful, could you please give me a like and consider subscribing. Okay, today we have, I guess, the smallest in the line of the Proto ratchets. This one's the 4749. It's the 1/4 inch drive, and as we see here, there's a knurled handle. It's a pretty good knurling. They're pretty pronounced. It's a pretty good job they did here. And here's the switch. It switches from on to off. Yeah, and I think, like I said, this is like the smallest of their box head style ratchets in the 47 series. Manufactured in the US. And let me see how long this is. Okay, this ratchet is almost 5 inches long, like 5 and 15/16. No, 4 and 15/16 rather. Okay, let's open it up and see what's inside this. It has 2 screws, and the screws are pretty small. This is what they look like. I doubt these ever had any Loctite on them. I don't think they used Loctite back then. They might still produce this ratchet, but this one I think is a little bit older. It's a little bit more vintage. And you just lift up on the anvil, and the plate comes off. Here's the plate. It's pretty thick. It's pretty small also. Pretty tiny plate. And here's the gear. It looks like it's chromed. There's the ball detent. Looks pretty well centered. Not sure how many teeth on this. I'll probably say 24. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yep. About 24 teeth on this gear. And here's the inside of the head. And this is the old 2-pole design. Has 2 poles with a spring on each side. And it has like a pendulum in the middle that's pinned to the switch, which a lot of times you're gonna find these ratchets, these type of protos, they're gonna be missing a switch, because the metal is pretty soft in the pendulum switch side, so when they pin these over, they come loose eventually over time. So like I said, you probably, if you see a lot of these, you're gonna see some that are missing this metal switch here. They might still have the pendulum might still be inside the mechanism, but you'll be missing this part. Okay, and here's the poles, and let me just take them out. The poles are tiny. Here's the spring. I don't know if this is the original spring. It doesn't look very cone shaped, which is what they usually are. And if you look at the ends, they kind of look like they've been used from something else. It doesn't look like the original. They look like they've been cut. The ends have been cut. This is probably a spring that got reused from repurposed from somewhere else. But it works. Here's the tiny little paws. And these paws just have the flat top, one tooth. And you see there's a little protrusion here on the bottom that goes inside those holes there in the body to stabilize the paws. And here's the other paw. Pretty much the same thing, just the opposite. And here's the other spring. This spring looks more original, looks more promising. It looks like this is what it came with. It looks cone shaped. It doesn't look like it's been cut or refashioned. Okay, here's the inside of the mechanism. Looks a little rough the way they bored this out. You see a lot of lines in there from when they I don't know what's the phrase, they bored it out, or they what do you call it? They broached this compartment here. And here's the ledge for the plate. And it looks like it was chromed in there, but you can see the lines on the side and on the bottom. And here's the little pendulum switch. It looks like it's bell-shaped. And that's what moves the paws. Okay, to get this back together, you just drop your paws in. Like that. Make sure the protrusions go into those holes. Okay. Now here's the fun part, because these springs are pretty small. Alright. You get one spring in, and then you switch the switch to compress the spring. That way you have room on the other paw to open it up. And you can get the other spring underneath that, or in between that and the wall. There. Yeah, it might take you a couple of tries, because it's the spring is pretty small. Oh boy. One more time, see if we can get it. Yeah. It's always this last spring that gives problems. Okay. So it should look like that. Now you can drop your gear in. Like this. You might want to push the spring down a little bit more. like that. Alright, now you can take your plate, drop it in there, turn it over, you hold the plate with your finger, and put your screws in. And now you test it out. See if it's working. You switch it over. And like most of these designs of the two swinging poles, there's very little back drag on this mechanism, so it's pretty good in that respect. But yeah, that's my teardown and review of the old school, pretty venerable Proto 4749, manufactured in the USA, 1/4 inch ratchet. Okay guys, until next time.